We love our heroes. We need them. Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and Harry Bupkis. Well, you know the Harry Bupkis legend. Harry Bupkis. What a man. The story goes, just picture an emergency room, late at night. There are gunshot wounds coming in and frightened old men with chest pains. It's like the gates of hell. And sitting in the front door, the receptionist, the gatekeeper. And as people come in, she asks them one terrifying question. Insurance, credit, or cash? Harry now is standing in front of her. He glares down. Here's the question. Insurance, credit, or cash? And then puts his finger to his mouth, pulls out a little piece of chicken from his dinner, flicks it across the room, and then in a moment, like Rosa Parks sitting down in the front row of a segregated bus, he said, I ain't giving you Bupkis. No, the crowd hushed. The earth almost halted on its axis. The receptionist said, what? See, she didn't understand. Bupkis is a Yiddish word that, well, to put it politely, it means nothing. Literally, it means the tiny product of a long session of constipation. But that wasn't. No. Harry fixed her with his eye, stepped up, looked at her, and once again said, you get Bupkis. Grabbed the chicken out of his mouth and bit off a piece. Well, she looked around in terror. The only backup she had was an armed guard, armed with a walkie-talkie. He was 70 years old. Bravely, she turned around and faced the mob coming in. Next! A skinny teenager walked up, hobbled towards her, put his arm around his pregnant girlfriend's wife, and he squeaked, Bupkis! And the revolution began. Just like that moment when Gandhi held up that handful of salt that he had just extracted from the Indian Ocean, like that moment when the 4 students sat down at that lunch counter in North Carolina. One simple act changed the world. The halt, the lame, the blind started to stumble forward, all yelling, Bupkis! 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 Well, by morning, by later that night, the whole place was overflowing. By morning, every hospital in the city had become a waiting room. By nighttime, it had swept the nation. Patients were refusing to pay. Fox News, thinking that it was couldn't make up its mind whether it was a right-wing or a left-wing conspiracy, ran conflicting editorials, until finally they forgot the whole thing and covered a beauty pageant in Belize. The headlines blared, sick ends sweep the country. But with all these patients lying there untreated, it was only a matter of time until they became die-ins. And so, whether they wanted to or not, the hospitals admitted the patients, whether they could pay or not. And the stock market crashed. The entire health industry went broke. Within a week, the healthcare was nationalized. Within a year, Blue Cross had moved its headquarters to a tiny strip mall right outside of Hartford. Healthcare was free. So, friends, please, all of us, let's remember Harry Bupkis. We don't even know what happened to him. We don't know what ailed him that day. Probably was indigestion. But let's sing a song and remember the man who saved us from our own inertia. Harry Bupkis, the man who made medicine free. Harry Bupkis, the man who made medicine free. And what this has to do with love and lies is that we love the lie. It's a legend, and we love the legend. Thank you.